established in his field during his postdoctoral research. Apart from his interest in chemistry, Dr. Sawant is also the founder of an NGO, Sawant Innovation Foundation, which works for promoting scientific temperament and education among the rural students of India. So we thank Dr. Sawant because he has also been helping us in many of our NIUS programs by guiding students also and interacting with them. And we have had very positive and very good feedback from the students regarding him. We thank him for accepting our invitation to take sessions in this camp. Thank you, Dr. Sawant. You can kindly start.
Thank you very much, ma'am, for such a nice introduction. And I'm also very thankful to NIUS Center for Science and Educational Research for providing this opportunity to interact with minds from all over India. So this is very good platform even for students as well as for the faculties to share our ideas and to guide the next generation. So without taking much of time, I would like to start the discussion, and after that, if there are any questions, we can discuss about it. So
you would like to take questions later on, sir, or in between?
Maybe later on will be good idea, because sometime what happens, they might have question, and during the course of these slides, they will get some answers. So still, if they have some questions, then we can discuss at the end of the presentation.
Thank you.
Also, I will try to include like some online database search for this presentation. So today's topic is how to read and write an abstract, particularly for scientific journals, scientific research papers, reviews, or maybe even for a research proposal. Because this is very, very important topic. Like our first impression is last impression. Similarly, for when you do application, your email subject is first impression and last impression, and same thing is for the abstract. When you write abstract, when you read abstract, you make your first impression about that article or that paper or that work, whether it is relevant to your work or not, whether it is relevant to your research area or not, or whether it is very new idea or whether it is a very routine idea. So we make a judgment based on the abstract, and therefore understanding how people write abstract and how we should read abstract is also very important. So before going into all details, as I know, like most of you are in a BSc, so sometime talking about research journal, articles, paper reviews might be a little bit a big step at this stage. But before that, whatever books you are referring, it's a good source of a scientific knowledge. So first question is how you got all these details in your books, how these publishers are publishing these books based on this chemistry, biology, and other syllabus. So how this syllabus was generated. So if you see all your chemistry books is nothing but a research done by previous generation, and they have done extreme research in that particular field, and then they come up with some idea, and it's like a small abstract of whatever that field is there into one book chapter, or maybe one kind of a page, or maybe it's like a one book also. So mostly academic chemistry books, they contain a basic and advanced knowledge of chemistry, and based on the knowledge generated by the scientists in different fields. The research had an impact on that particular field by introducing a new reaction, new concept, or new product, which are useful for understanding of a basic chemistry as well as for its application. So therefore, you are having all these syllabus like organic chemistry, physical chemistry, inorganic chemistry, analytical chemistry, and so on. So you should understand the basic when this area originated, how this particular topic started, and what is the current status. So that's why we have BSc, MSc, and after that we try to use this knowledge for research. So in research, what happens? So now we are going back from books to its origin. So particularly in lab, researchers are working. Maybe they are working in organic chemistry, physical chemistry, material chemistry, or even computational chemistry, or even some mathematical tool for doing some kind of calculations. So they are doing experiments to get a new idea or particularly new results in that particular subject. And they write this data in lab journals or maybe in a scientific lab journals, either online or offline. And apart from that, they generate a lot of supporting information to prove their evidence that the reaction is happening, product is forming, or this might be the transition state, and so on. So these reports are in the form of progress report or presentations during their work. And when they finish their data, they summarize everything in such a way that it should be in a one flow. It should be in a one format, and then it will be easy to make a judgment which parameter is affecting, which product we are getting, why this reaction is happening, why this is not happening. And based on all this data, they write a manuscript. Okay. And this manuscript, then they submit it to the publication houses. So publication houses, like you might be knowing Nirali Prakashan, or maybe different publishers. Here you can see their names on your textbooks. So these are publishers who are like Himalaya Prakashans and so on, or state publication. So these are the few, but like that, there are also scientific publishers who publishes a scientific research journals. So like American Chemical Society, Royal Society of Chemistry, even in India, we are having a lot of many other publication houses. So what they publish? So they publish communication, short paper, full paper, notes, and many other articles, as well as reviews. So let's understand this. What is this communication, short paper, and full paper? So communication is whenever they are doing extremely new work, which is very, very important, which was not reported previously. They publish in the form of communication, which is mean also like it's need urgent publication. So this is accepted as early as possible so that it will reach up to the wide audience and people will know that this is the actual issue in this field and we have solved it and so on, and other people will work on it. Then if somebody found more details about that work, they will publish as a short paper or note related to that work. And then with all the details, they may publish it as a full paper with its application, with more details and so on. Okay. And after some time, what happened, that area will grow. For example, now nanotechnology, previously it was very small word. Now there are each and every field is having some application of nanotechnology, starting from medicine, biology, chemistry, and so on. So like that, that area will grow, that reaction may grow. They may, like, for example, flip reaction. It has a lot of application in biology for bioconjugation. So slowly people will try to do more work in that area, and they will publish more and more papers. And then some of the research group who are expert or working in that area, they will summarize everything. Okay. And then they will make a review article out of it. So that might be short review, that might be a full review, or that might be specific review for their own work. So there are different types of reviews also. So this is also very important to understand. So when they write a review, they will make it like in a format of book. For example, you can imagine your textbook also, like instead of writing whole paper, it's like a 4 pages paper or 10 pages paper, they will write just one paragraph, or maybe just like very important, concise information about that work and idea about that review, exactly which topic they want to highlight. They will summarize everything. So by reading the review, you will get a lot of idea about that particular field. And at the end, they will also mention about the future scope, what are the limitations of this area that may give a new idea to work on this topic or to understand that topic. Okay. And after such reviews and all, people may also publish it as a book chapter. So it will be a part of one of the book about that total overall idea. And in future, once this area grows, or when people think this is very important even for students to understand, they will include this in part of their curriculum also. So that's how you got most of these experiments. Like, for example, can you name any organic reaction for students? Any organic reaction name? You might have studied in your BSc. For synthesis of acid, ester, or maybe any nucleophilic substitution. Any name reaction?
Sir, aldol condensation.
Yes. So aldol condensation is one of the reaction which is having a lot of application in synthesizing big molecules, pharmaceutical drug molecules, as well as textilely important molecules. So aldol condensation started with one experiment, for example, by that particular scientist, and then they found out it is having many applications. So more and more researchers were interested. They work on that reaction. It found useful applications, and that's how people find out that, yeah, this is very important area and should be included into your syllabus. So like Cannizzaro reaction, and there are many name reaction, Wittig reaction, Higgs coupling, Sonogashira, Suzuki coupling. So there are many other reactions which you will find their way into your syllabus through this journey. So sometime you may be having question in your mind, why we are learning this particular chemistry, how it comes. So this is the overall journey of your books, or whatever syllabus is there, it's based on previous knowledge. And if you see carefully, so these books are nothing but kind of a small abstract of the work has been done in that particular field. It might be a very big field, there might be hundreds of paper, but if you see your book chapter, it might be just one page or maybe one chapter. So it is so concise in such a way that you should able to understand. You should able to understand in a very simple and easy language. So that is an overall aspect of any abstract. In this case, it is your books because it's easy for BSc students to understand. Now, slowly we will move toward the other actual abstracts where we need more and more detailed kind of training and as well as some scientific background. So before that, we should understand what is meant by scientific paper and what are the different scientific papers are available. So scientific paper, their purpose is to inform to an audience and other scientists that we have found out a solution for an important issue, and they may like use this particular problem or particular solution for the further investigation if they want, or maybe they have found out something useful of it. Okay, and they make document, and that we call a research paper or research article. Therefore, please do not think that good English is not critical because you are doing science. English is also nowadays critical part of writing. So at the same time, when you are a good scientist, when you are good in doing your experiments, writing your reports and so on, you should be good in using the English language in a concise way to make effective and a short sentences, and it should be easy to understand for the wide audience, not only for the chemist, even a person who is interested in knowing about that article, you should at least get an idea exactly what you're talking about in that article. And if you read any scientific paper so far, based on your previous internship or maybe in current curriculum, you might have understood that there is some standard format for most of the articles. So sometimes there will be short papers, sometimes it will be full paper, sometimes it will be just like 2 pages note. Okay, but if you see carefully, each and every paper has been divided into some sections. So like title, abstract, graphical abstract, introduction, result and discussion with having a lot of data about figures, schemes, tables, graphs, and at the end there will be conclusion. Okay, and citation. Most of this citation reference number, you will see that people are citing into introduction section. Okay, because they are talking about the history behind it, and then they will cite that reference. Yes, this is the proof for this history or whatever people have done before. And then there are some page limit for each kind of article. For example, for note, maybe 2 to 4 pages, might be for communication, 4 pages in chemistry. In other areas, it might be a bigger paper also. But in particular in chemistry, we have page restrictions. Okay, maximum paper you will find up to 4 to 5 pages. But if you go to material chemistry, polymer chemistry, and other chemistry, there are papers up to 10 to 12 pages also. Okay, so depending upon the field you are working, you will see that there are a number of main papers or main pages, but at the same time, we are doing a lot of work. We are doing many characterization and other things. So everything we cannot include into the paper. So therefore, always along with the paper, make a habit that you should read a supporting information. That is very important, because sometime while reading a paper, you will miss some of the points which are mentioned in supporting information due to page limitation. So always download the supporting information, and you will feel that there is a lot of information. Not only the spectra, sometimes they will mention about the procedure, sometimes they will mention about the supplier or methods and so on. So they will include most of this information into supporting information. So this is the overall view of any research paper. Okay. And in general, if you think how it look like, so most important and concise part is abstract of any article. Its writing is also important, and its reading is also important. So why reading is very important? Because when you do the literature search, so in literature search, what we do, we try to find out the research papers which are related to my topic. And how we find out? So nowadays, if you want to search anything, which search engine you will use? Any idea how you will find out? Any name of any search engine? Or right now, if you want to find out anything, what you do on your mobile or on your computer, how you search? Any location, any hotel, anything? Yes.
Google.
Yes. So particularly what we do, we are addicted to Google. So what we will do, we will put that word, the destination, I think Google or Google Map for the destination or anything. So like that, for a scientific article, there are search engines. So generally like a Google, if you search in a Google Scholar, so it will filter only a scientific articles, and you will able to see only research papers which are published in scientific database. So like a Google Scholar, there are also more scientific search engines. And sometimes we need to pay, like as an institute or as an industry, they need to pay to these companies to get the access for the search engines. So these are like Scopus, SciFinder, Reaxis, and so on. So they give a precise data about that paper. And now how it is connected to abstract. When you do any literature search, you will put some words or you will put some reaction, and then you will try to find out papers related to that particular topic. For example, in my case, I'm interested in amide synthesis. I will mention that catalytic amide synthesis. So the paper which are relevant to that, they will filter. But most of the time, along with this paper, some other papers will also show up. There might be more than 1,000 papers. So then how to do effective literature search, that you will also learn during this particular topic. But when you search any paper, what you do first, you first read the abstract. Okay, either it's a graphical abstract or wording. So that you will see, and based on the title, first you will check the title if it is relevant to amide or peptide for my topic, or even maybe total synthesis of any molecules. So then next thing is you will check the abstract. After reading the abstract, you will make your mind, yes, this is relevant to my topic. Shall I download this article or not? But before going for download, again, we will check the graphical abstract, because graphical abstract is exactly a summarized work of that particular, what is the novelty in that work. So just by looking at that arrow, that starting material and product, what chemistry they have done, we will make some judgment whether it is relevant to my topic or not. And that's how we will download that article. Okay. And after downloading, then we will be downloading like such relevant article, 10, 20 or so on. And then we will read it with more details. And then we will again make a judgment whether it is more relevant or not. And some of the article, then we will follow for our research. Okay. So that's how abstract is very important, even as a researcher, to reach out up to the wide audience. Okay. So along with your quality of your research work, how you are writing your paper, how you are writing your abstract and graphical abstract is very, very important. And at the end, sometime when we write introduction part, the papers which are more relevant, that we will cite. Okay. And that's how people will get a citation for their work. So that's a different story. But to come up to that process, it goes through the literature search. It goes through the reading abstract and graphical abstract. Okay. So I will not go into the details of reading or writing any research articles, because now we have very concise topic of writing abstract, but just for overall view, how it will look like any research paper. So introduction, you will see very broad, not in terms of the content, not like 2-3 pages of introduction, but its opening is very wide. Okay. There will be very broad sentence initially in introduction, that amide synthesis has been utilized in biology and chemistry and so on, for peptide synthesis, for drug molecule synthesis and so on, or maybe taxol molecule having a lot of application in cancer and so on. Okay. So it's a very broad sentence, but then they will narrow it down. So why they will narrow it down? Because they have to show exactly what they have done, what as a researcher I'm doing. So then we will connect that broad topic with exactly what specific thing we are doing. Then we will cite some of the literature to prove that, and then we will mention what are the issues in previous work, or what is the new thing what we are doing, and then we will mention few things. Okay. And you will find that some of the lines from the introduction we can take directly in abstract also, but we need to modify those lines. Then methodology is about the work and so on, how you did and what you did. And then at the result, and apart from result, the discussion is very important. How you describe your result, how you make it simple to understand, and whether these results are logical or not. Okay. And then you will make a conclusion. So this is an overall view of any research article. Of course, review writing is totally different, because review is not like a research paper. It's like a summary of all the previously reported papers. So there mostly you will see like small abstract with more details, specific details about each paper in a condensed format of a few pages, like 10 pages, 20 pages, depending upon a review. So how to start writing a research paper? We are not discussing about writing research paper, but when you should start writing abstract. So start by writing. Do not worry about the path-breaking ideas. So before going into all the details, I would like to mention some of the information is from internet also. I took some of the information which I thought is useful, and I have included those slides. And some of the information is from my previous talks. So in case if you have any kind of issue that you have found out this information on internet, just as an audience, just I would like to declare that this is not at all totally my information. Some of the slides are from the internet also. Just to make it easier for the BSc student to understand, I try to use this material. Okay? So start by writing. Do not worry about the path-breaking ideas. Do not try to put too many concepts in one paper. Okay, make it interesting. And now the next sentence is very important. Write abstract at the last, particularly when you do the research. Okay. Why it is very important? Because when you write any papers, your mind will change, the concept may change, the way you are writing at when you are starting your first draft and your last draft may be totally different, or maybe having some kind of new things added in the last version of your actual research paper. So once you finish your research paper writing, then only plan for writing abstract. Same thing for your proposal also. Okay. So title and abstract should be written at the end. Why? Because this is a summary of your actual paper or actual proposal, what you are presenting. Okay. So then before going for a writing, it's also important how to read an abstract. Okay, but at this BSc stage, maybe you may not be directly involved in writing abstract, you are not doing actual project and so on, but at least you have opportunity to read any scientific paper, to download it, or maybe even to get this paper from your friends in doing PhD and so on. So once you get the paper, what to do? How to read the abstract? So first, read the title of that article and make a judgment whether it is of my interest or not, whether it is relevant to the topic for which I am searching, is relevant to that or not. Then carefully look at the graphical abstract. At this stage, it may not be easy for you to understand the graphical abstract. Therefore, I will not go into the details of graphical abstract, but I will show you online what is meant by graphical abstract. But with graphical abstract, as a chemist, we can make a judgment what kind of new chemistry they are doing. Then check a type of article, whether it's a review article, whether it's a communication, whether it's a full paper. That thing will be mentioned on that article also. Check the name of the journal in which this article is published, whether it's very high impact journal or it is like a routine journal. So it's like extended work or very novel work, that judgment you can make. Read the name of the authors and their affiliation. It's also very important. Why it's very important? Once you are interested in that particular abstract, in that topic, then to get more relevant work of that authors, once you know that author name and all, you can search with the authors and get an idea whether they are extending this work, whether they are extensively contributing in that work, or whether they are just first time reporting that work. Okay, therefore reading this affiliation is also important. And then if you see that this particular author is extensively working in that area, then it is a good idea to follow that author and read more papers whenever they publish. Check the date and year of that publication to make a judgment whether it's a recent work or you are reading a paper from 1980s. So that makes a difference also, like you get a recent knowledge also. If you're reading a paper in 1980s or 1990s, then what is the current scenario? So you should also check the recent publications. Read that abstract also. And then the reading. So as soon as you see the abstract, do not make a direct judgment whether it is easy or it is hard to understand or something. Just read it. Okay, read a sentence by sentence. Even if it's a new word for you, whether it's a biological word or chemistry word, if it is a new wording, just try to read it. Once you read it, then next thing is now read each and every sentence. Like first, read the first sentence, try to understand it, then read the second sentence and see how it is connected with the second, and then read each whole paragraph of the abstract like that. Then identify what are the new findings that author wants to highlight in that particular abstract. Because mostly you will say that authors are highlighting their actual findings, or they're mentioning that what are the limitations in previous work and what we are doing right now. So basically they are trying to highlight what is the novelty of their work in that abstract and how it is important. Read again and try to understand now a graphical abstract, because at this stage, because once you know exactly like all this reaction and how to draw and how to just, it will be easier either to first read a graphical abstract and then read abstract. But at this stage, first read abstract and then check the graphical abstract. Okay, and then try to understand a graphical abstract. That's also a good idea. Now we will see a few actual examples, because now when we are talking, sometime you may lose the track. Okay, what I'm talking about and what is abstract and how to read and how to do that. So now we will see a few examples. So as I said, there are many publication house or maybe many publishers. So one of these ACS publication. Okay. So they are publishing many journals, not only like chemistry. If you see ACS publication, they are publishing in all subjects, organic, inorganic, physical, biology, and so on. So out of that, the papers which are published in chemistry journal, that are our interest. Okay, particularly today we are going to see few examples from organic letters, then Journal of American Chemical Society, then Journal of Organic Chemistry, then Chemical Review, which is one of the type of review. So what is the difference between organic letter and JOC and chemical review, and as an example JACS? Okay, in terms of data or in terms of abstract writing or in terms of the content of that paper. So organic letter, generally this particular journal publishes a communication, a novel work which was not reported previously, and it's a first report in that area. JACS, Journal of American Chemical Society, they also report such kind of work, but they need extensive study with the proof, with solid proof, with like mechanistic details, with computational details, with its application and so on, with more data. Okay, so there also you will find some communications. Here you can see the word communications. So organic letter, they also publish communication, and in case of JOC, they publish articles, notes, and so on. So these are the different types of wordings for each article, depending upon the novelty of that work, depending upon whether it's a new work or it's an extension of previously reported work. Now, in terms of abstract, if you see abstract of any communication, it will be very short because it's just like a 2 to 4 page limit is there. And within that, also you have to put your abstract in that paper. So if you visit this particular organic letter website, you will see that. Okay, let me look back. So for example, as a random search, even you can do that. If you put organic letter, you will go to their homepage, and most of the homepage for many journals will have similar content, may have different look, but will have similar content. So they will be having list of issues, ASAP articles, current issues, authors, and then abstract and so on. Sorry, authors and about the journal. So about the journal is also very important when you are starting your research or when you are publishing. So they will give an idea exactly what kind of articles, particularly this journal accepts. If you are doing physical chemistry and you are submitting that to organic letter, they may not accept it, because their main aim is to publish a work which is done in organic chemistry, just for your information. Now, if you see list of issues, it will be having all the articles which are available online since day one of this online publication. But before that also, they might have published it somewhere and they will be having hard copy of it. And list of issues will have all the issues. Here you can see from 1990s to 2021. And in current issues, it will be a current issue, which is like whatever it accepted recently. So December 2021. So it's like a book. You can imagine one book which is having a lot of research articles into it. And then ASAP article. What is ASAP? As soon as possible. Means you have submitted the article, editor has accepted it after revision and so on, but it is not having page number, but it is accepted. It will be published soon with the page number in a current issue, in next current issue. Okay, so here also you will see graphical abstract and abstract. I hope now you understood about these 4 important tabs, because if you visit any journals, you will see that on their homepage somewhere. Okay, so now we will see few examples about abstract. So as I said, when I do the literature, what I will see whether the title is relevant to my AM or my topic or not. Once I see, okay, this title is relevant to my work, then what I will do, I will check graphical abstract, because as an experienced researcher, it is easy for me to understand what kind of chemistry they might have done. Okay, they might have reported some kind of new catalyst, some kind of new reagent for doing this transformation. If I'm extensively working in this area, I'll be having previous knowledge about what is the previous work and what might be the novelty in that case. But as a new student or as a bachelor student, first you should understand this abstract, because this is in a words. It's easy to understand, and then make a judgment what this abstract say about this figure. Okay, so here the title is tertiary butyl nitride as a two-fold hydrogen abstractor for dehydrogenation coupling of aldehydes with N-hydroxyamides. So this gives brief, very condensed information about that work, what specific work they have done. And abstract will give little bit more details about that work, but here you will see limit. There might be 3-4 lines, same thing, like if you see any abstract, there will be few lines, okay? 4 lines, 5 lines. Initially, it was just like 2-3 lines. Nowadays, I think they have increased. But now if you see JAX also, like communication. So here, one paragraph. So depending upon the limitation, you will see there are some limitation in some journal, and some journal will allow a big paragraph also. Now JOC, here you will see there are few lines or maybe full abstract, some cases. So depending upon the limitation for that particular journal, here you see the full paragraph. So instead of like going into the details of writing like 1 page or 2 page of abstract or half page of abstract, as a researcher, first we need to know exactly what is the limitation of that particular article. And then accordingly, we have to condense our idea within that particular limit. Okay. And for example, chemical review. Now this is a journal which publishes a review. Review means it's a brief information about the work which has been done in last 10 years or 20 years, or starting from the origin of that product, for that particular reaction or that project up to the current status. So like that, you will see on each and every journal pages, there is a title, name of the authors, in which particular journal it has been published, name of or short form of that journal, year, page number, and so on, and graphical abstract along with the abstract. Okay, so this is the actual thing. So now this is a SciFinder. As I said, even you can use SciFinder for searching any of the reactions. So here, what you can do, you can draw the structure, you can search. For example, if you want to search anything, you want to convert aldehyde into any product. So SciFinder is a very good searching tool because it offers option to search anything as a product, anything as a starting material, and so on. So now, how these abstracts are important when you do the literature search, that we will see. Because aldehyde was very common, it is taking a little bit more time. But in a Google Scholar also we can see. Okay. I'm putting very general word. If you see now, Google Scholar is also showing some articles. Okay. So while reading these titles, I will make a judgment which paper looked relevant to my topic. I'll click on that paper and it will open that homepage. Okay. And therefore, this abstract is important. Can you see introduction? Can you see any research methodology or anything? No. Information which is available free of cost, without any kind of like paying any money or something. You can read abstract, you can see that particular scheme. And apart from that, even if it is available in a paid version, generally what we see first is abstract. And based on this abstract, we make a judgment. Therefore, writing and reading an abstract is very important. So once I read it, I will get some information. So for example, here catalytic chemical amide synthesis at room temperature, one more step toward the peptide synthesis. So what judgment I'm making? They are making catalytic amides, but their main target is to make a peptides. So let's see their abstract. An efficient method has been developed for direct amide bond synthesis between carboxylic acid and amines via so-and-so catalyst. It's the name of that catalyst, a highly active bench stable catalyst. This catalyst was found to be very effective at room temperature for a large range of substrate. So they are giving more details about how this catalyst is useful, in what condition, and then what is the application of this particular method. So this methodology can be applied to aliphatic, hydroxy, aromatic, heteroaromatic acid, as well as primary, secondary, and even functionalized amines. Notably, N-Bock protected amino acids were successfully coupled in a good yield and so on. So when they are saying these words, they have done a lot of experiments, and you will see there might be 2-3 tables about that work, and it's a description. But here within 2 lines, they have summarized everything, what work they have done in their research methodology. Here they have mentioned what is the novelty in that work. Okay, so that's how you will see that abstract is giving brief, condensed information about that work. So now here, if I click particularly this from SciFinder, I have clicked it as any kind of substance or any kind of a paper. So aldehyde as a starting material for anything like that. So if I want to see the reactions, it will show me a number of reported reactions on SciFinder, where aldehyde used as a starting material. If I want to use it as a starting material, if I want to see it as a product, then also there is an option. I can see whether it is reported as a product or maybe it is reported as a substance. Okay, here it is reported as a substance, specific derivatives and so on. So particular in reactions. Now, let's see a few examples of the abstract. Okay, so here, in case if you are having access to that journal or SciFinder, then it will be easy. Here you can get the experimental protocol also. But if I click, it will open another window and it will show the abstract. Can you see this one? Title, name of the author, and abstract of that work, along with the keywords. And these keywords are useful when you type this word, particularly article which are relevant to that keywords will appear in your search. Okay, therefore abstract is important. So once you read that abstract, then you will make a judgment whether it is relevant to my topic or not, and then I can click full text, and then I will open that particular journal homepage, or maybe more details about that particular paper. Okay, so this is in reality what we are doing when we are doing literature search. So once I know, okay, this abstract is relevant to my topic, then I will go to that homepage, I will download that article. So SciFinder is just like a search engine tool, okay? Google Scholar, SciFinder, Reaxys, but SciFinder is little bit advanced. Here you can draw the structure and get the data. Even you can plan a retrosynthesis and so on. But on Google Scholar also you can do the literature search by checking particular topic and finding its scientific articles. Now we will go back. I hope now your doubts are clear about why abstract is important and where you can locate the abstract. So when you visit anywhere, we'll say actual example. Once you download the paper, for example, let's download this paper. So in reality, when you read the paper, you will get this kind of abstract. Okay, here on its website, it will appear like this. But when you download article, there will be some column at the initial. Maybe there will be few lines or maybe one paragraph. There will be heading. There may not be a heading. Okay, but once you see initially, it will be abstract. A first paragraph. Here you can see this is the abstract, and this is the graphical abstract. In some journal, they will not put even a graphical abstract in actual paper. In some journal, they have this option. But always you will see the abstract. And even by reading this abstract, I will get an idea, yes, this is the relevant paper for me. And then what it contains, a brief condensed information about, if you see this number of pages, so here maybe 4536. So around started at 4532. So around 3 to 4 pages information they have condensed in a short way within one paragraph to highlight the novelty of this work. Okay, now we will go back. So now you have seen actual examples I hope in case if you have any question about it, you can write it down, and at the end of the presentation, we will discuss about it. So that's how, again, I will repeat what you have to do. First, read the title. Now you know exactly where these titles are located in actual PDF or maybe on website. Then carefully look at the graphical abstract, how it looks. Even if you don't understand, just have a look. Which is double bond, which is single bond, how it looks, what is the product, what is the starting material. Try to understand more. Then check a type of article, whether it's a review, communication, full paper. Check the name of the journal in which this article is published. Read the names of the author and their affiliation. Check the date and year, and then read it quickly, that abstract. And once you know brief idea about that abstract and that work, then now go for detailed reading. Like you have to read carefully each and every line, then see how this author are connecting that line to the next line and how it is meaningful. Then identify the new finding that authors are reporting. Whatever abstract you will come across, always there will be some lines somewhere that scientists or researchers will try to highlight what is the novelty of their work, what new things they are reported, underline that point. Okay, so this is the actual novelty, and then they are showing its application and so on. Read again and try to understand graphical abstract, because now from abstract you have more knowledge about what work they might be doing. Now read the graphical abstract carefully, walk through the structure, check the bonds, and see where this conversion is happening, where this particular reaction site is located, what is converted into what, okay, and which reagent they are using, which particular conditions they are having. So that will give an overall idea about that particular abstract. Okay, this is about reading abstract and making a judgment whether this article is relevant to my topic or not. Then now the most important part is reading is simple, but also needs a skills. Once you read one paper, two paper, 10 papers, then you will know exactly how to read abstract. Just by reading one paper is not a sufficient. I have forwarded few papers to Indrani madam, and she will discuss with you. Even you are free to use any of the paper, and your job will be select any one of the paper, read it carefully, and then read the abstract which is already there, and then try to make a new abstract based on your understanding. Okay, so this is just like one assignment, and same thing you can do for next couple of the papers to improve your writing skill for the abstract writing. So the abstract is a summary of the problem addressed in your proposal or in your research. So far we discussed about the research articles in terms of papers, reviews, or concept notes, or book chapters and so on. But now we are mentioning one new word here, proposal. Okay, so what is a proposal? I will not go into all the details, but in your curriculum you will come across what is meant by proposal. Proposal is nothing but before doing that work, we are proposing it, that this is the title of my work, this is the work I'm planning to do, and this is how I will be doing it. These are the instruments I will need, how I will be doing analysis and so on. And here also it's very important to write an abstract. And why we need this proposal abstract and so on? We are submitting this proposal to funding agency, to industry, or maybe for getting next position of a PhD or postdoc, so on. When everybody is reading your proposal, they don't have that much time because they are getting too many proposals, too many things. So mostly people will read your abstract and make some initial judgment. Okay, so therefore, writing an abstract even for a proposal is very, very important. And these abstracts allow you to explain all the major aspects of your research, highlight the novelty of your work, what is the exactly new thing you have done within a short 1 or 2 lines or 1 paragraph. And then it gives a reader insight into the research, whether they should read your work or not. Now, is abstract writing more difficult than general writing? No, it's not a difficult. Once you know exactly how to write any kind of article, you just need little bit of more practice of about scientific writing. So for the students, I just would like to give one suggestion how to improve your scientific writing, because daily diary writing, some of you might be doing that. I wake up in the morning, I met my friend, then we went here and we had a discussion. Today I had this class and that class. But one more thing, to improve your scientific writing, what you can do once you go into your college, when you are doing some practicals, after coming back, write in a simple wording what experiments you have done. Try to remember that wording, that scientific names, and then how much quantity you added and so on, and then what was your conclusion and so on. So instead of writing as a experiment, make this habit, writing it as a daily lab diary, okay, or even for your lectures also. So that will improve your scientific writing skills slowly. And then try to combine scientific writing with your English grammar. So that will make you a perfect writer in future. So what is important when you are writing abstract? A clarity. It should be very clear, because nobody is having that much time to read like 2-3 pages or maybe and then make a judgment. Oh, his abstract is saying something, but actually he has done that work. No. So why abstract is important? Just reading the abstract, they should get an idea exactly what work you have done. It should be an active voice as much as possible, and try to reduce the sentence. Putting 2 sentences and at the same time having the same meaning which you can convey within 2 words is not a good idea. So try to make it as concise as possible and use simple words. Even you are very expert in English, do not put a jargons. Why? Because your audience may not be very familiar with the English language, because we are writing this particular research article which will be published on international level. So Germans will be reading it, French will be reading it, Japanese will be reading it, Chinese will be reading it, even people from India from different regions will be reading it. So if you are using a simple words which are well familiar with the population, then it's easy to attract their attention for reading your detailed work. So try to make it simple, but at the same time scientific. That's also very important. Okay, so your goals for writing abstract, you should ensure that your readers can clearly understand your subject. So it should match with your title also. That's also very important. To create a structure that makes information easy to find in your papers. So if you are claiming something, you should have solid backup data in your research paper. For example, if you're mentioning you have made so-and-so sensor, and this sensor is very good for bioconjugation, or maybe this sensor is very good for H2S detection and so on. But when we read your paper and there is no information about you have done any such experiment, so that's a false claim. Okay, you cannot put hypothetical data in abstract. So make sure that whatever information is there in your paper, you are summarizing that actual novelty, actual information in your paper. Or maybe same thing for a proposal. To reduce your sentences, words, and paragraphs to the absolute minimum, so as not to waste the time of your readers. This is very important. Then, aspects of writing abstract. We should use a short introduction to the topic. So for example, how to start. So instead of directly highlighting your novelty, sometimes people prefer to give brief introduction within 1 line about that particular topic. Okay, and then next about literature. In some cases, you will see that people might have mentioned earlier drawbacks, or maybe what people have done, what are the limitations, and then what specific thing you have done, what is it, how it is useful, and so on. Sometimes even people will start with their own ideas, what they have done and why they have done. So depending upon the type of article, this may shape. Okay. And next thing is language. It should be simple to understand and scientific. Then once you write your first draft, okay, this is not your last draft. Always remember, first draft needs a lot of revisions. Once you write 1 draft, it will go for further revisions for grammatical changes or maybe scientific changes, and whether this first sentence is connected to the second, whether it is in a flow like a story or not. So even if it is like 1 paragraph, you need many repetitions, many revisions. And once from your side you are confirmed that yeah, this is the final abstract from my side, then you submit it to your supervisor. Okay, because sometime what will happen, once you write a first draft and when you try to convince your idea, your supervisor or with whoever you are working may not like that first draft, because it may be very rude work or maybe very crude work, and therefore it needs again polishing. And sometimes like supervisor will be busy with doing many other stuff. So mention always to the supervisor that this is the final draft from my side. I have done the grammatical corrections, I have checked scientific wording, I try to use connecting sentences between the different sentence to make it in a flow, and then submit it to supervisor. So just like the title, abstract should also be written after completing the proposal or research paper writing, and should be as per the requirement of an article and proposal, whatever it is. Okay, so you should not write an abstract before starting that work. You should not write an abstract before starting writing a paper that we discussed already. Okay, so always write abstract at the end. So because it's a summary of everything, and mostly you will see few lines are repeating from introduction section, from conclusion section, and even from summary section in abstract. And to become a good writer, you should read the work from your peers. What is peers? Like those who are publishing work in similar topic. Okay. And read carefully how they are highlighting the novelty, what kind of words they are using, and pay attention to the norms of the good writing, how they are like writing concisely that particular topic. And then write often. You will get better with the practice. And as I said, writing a daily scientific diary is one of the way. And apart from that, once you know exactly you are writing for this particular topic, and then try to read more and more papers, and then start writing abstract for your own topic. Okay, talk about your research and invite a questions. So do not stop on your final draft. Discuss with your fellow researcher, fellow friends, and mention about, okay, this is my final draft. That's how I wrote. So do you have any question on it? How I can improve it further and so on. And always try to write in a such way that you are engaging your audience. They should be so engaging that they should be interested what will be the next story. Like that when we are watching a horror movie, we're interested what is happening the next step. Same thing for like when you're watching the cricket, what will be the next move, who will be the winner and so on. So same thing should be there in abstract. And after reading your abstract, they should be more interested in your research paper. Okay. And for writing, just start writing. Do not wait for inspiration. Okay. That somebody will come and they will teach me each and every word, how to read and how to write. Do not wait, just start. Okay. And slowly you will improve. Then simplicity. Use more short sentence than long sentences. You choose your words carefully. Be specific as possible. And use simple words. Okay. Because, for example, now you can see has an effect on. So just affects can make same word for that. Give rise to, causes, due to the fact that, because, the purpose of this study. So you can reduce 2 to 3 sentences into one single word. So after reading, for first up, it is fine. You can put all the details, you can put whatever wording you want, and then try to make this sentence very concise, where I can reduce this sentence, where I can put more kind of scientific wording or very general wording. Now we'll see few examples. When you learn how to eliminate non-informative and unnecessary words and pairs, your writing will be more effective. So here basically, fundamentally, generally, actually, frankly, these are the common words we speak when we are discussing anything, okay? Or maybe some few sentences, how they can make issue when you are writing it. So based on the results, we can conclude that option B would create challenges in obtaining the necessary tools and difficulties in finding the appropriate solution to the problem. Okay. So same thing, you can reduce further. Like here, you can see that this is almost like 3 lines. You can make it up to 2 lines. So based on the results, we conclude that option B would create challenges in finding the necessary tool and appropriate solution to the problem. And this is not the end of this editing, okay? Even by reading this first and 2 lines, you can also come up with the new lines, 1 or 2 lines in a different ways. That is also possible to make it more concise. Now the second example, studies shows that obesity rates are generally increasing, okay? Thus it is very important we promote healthy eating habits. Study shows that obesity rates are increasing. So this generally is unnecessary. Okay. So sometimes when we speak, we have habit actually or generally. So we use that habit even in our writing. So that we have to remove when we start reading our abstract, what we wrote, and then to make it as a concise abstract. So what is a good writing? It should be concise, accurate, coherent, cohesive, accessible, comprehensive, and clear. What is concise? You use a few words as possible. What is accurate? You carefully record the facts. You are not making a hypothesis here. You are mentioning the fact, what study you have done. Coherent, you are a logical and convincing that yes, it is logical. It is acting as a chemosensor, so that's why we checked it as a biosensor and it's working. Cohesive, you connect your ideas. Okay. So it should not happen that you are mentioning first 2 lines and it is not at all connected with what work you have done. It should be connecting. Okay, accessible. Your readers can easily locate the information, whatever you are describing in your abstract. You include all necessary information which is required. For example, graphical abstract as well as in the abstract. You mention your meaning is obvious and your writing is easy to understand. Okay, you should not put too many jargons. Very you should not put the words which only people who are excellent in English should understand. Because when you are writing an article, this article is for general public, for a wide audience. Even it is for a specific chemistry audience, but this audience is not just located in India. They are located in different countries that we have to take care of while writing. This is the writing process for abstract. Even in that case, you can imagine any scientific article also. So analyze and then purpose what might be the tentative abstract. Then who will be your audience for that particular work? Whether it is like within chemistry, whether it's an organic chemist, catalysis chemist, material chemist, and so on. What kind of wording will be useful for them? Then write important statements. So instead of writing a paragraph, just write the important points initially. Then gather the information about those points to make it as a full sentence. Then try to connect those sentences to make it as a full paragraph. And after that, write the outline of your abstract. So that will be the first draft. And after writing a draft, you have to revise it many times. So these are just few examples or few suggestions, which things you should revise. So check the content and organization. Then next, what you have to check, its coherence, whether it is particularly giving that same thing what you are mentioning in that particular paper. Then edit and revise it for clarity. Whatever jargons are there, whatever extra sentences are there, that you can make it specific or short, or you can remove. And edit for conciseness, make it as concise as possible, and check readability. So after doing all these things, whether I'm able to read and understand myself, whether it is in a one flow, whether it is well connected with the first line, second line, and last line, and whether it convey the message which my work is saying. Okay, it should not happen that you are mentioning too many things in abstract, but in reality you have done very short part. And it should not also be in a reverse. You have done many things in your paper, but you are not able to convey the message. So it should be balanced. So whatever work you have done, that should be actual summary of your work. Then check for the correctness. Okay, and here you can take the help of your supervisor. After doing all these revisions, then you have to go to the supervisor or to the colleagues, discuss, and then do the proofreading further. Okay, this is the overall view. And then what are the other important points you have to take care of? Know your audience. Okay, and write for the specific audience. If you're writing for catalysis people, make sure that you are putting more emphasis on writing in the catalysis language. Check for a basic grammar and spelling mistakes. Do not consider your first draft as a final draft for any of the article. Not only for abstract, but in any of the cases, do not consider your first draft as a final draft, as it requires many revisions. Use an outline to organize your ideas when you're writing any articles, and think about the structure of paragraph. Make your writing in a flow and resonate, and show the data. Do not tell the imaginary data or imaginary conclusions. That's very important. Show the data. Yeah, whatever I mentioned in abstract, I have much more data in my paper. So then the audience will be interested to read your paper. Write about your results, not about your tables, figures, and statistics. That's very important. That in figure 2, we found out this. No, it's not required. What is your conclusion based on that figure? What is your interpretation on that tables? So that is more important. That concise information you should put into that abstract. And once you submit it, even your supervisor have revised it. Sometime editor will make good comments, or even sometime even they make a bad comments. So both comments we have to take positively, and we have to revise our abstract, as well as in some cases if it is English writing or anything. Okay, so that's all about brief introduction about writing abstract. So do you have any question for how to read abstract? Any confusion, anything? So purposely I try to finish within 1 hour so that we can discuss a little bit more. And where these abstracts are located, I hope now you will get an idea exactly how to find out the abstract and so on. In case if you have any question, any doubt, you can ask me now.
Yes, students, if you have any questions, you can ask, sir.
Yeah, there are two possibilities, like always. Either you understood everything, or maybe you're not ready to ask question because it might be a little bit different from what you have expected. There are two possibilities. So have you in case if you're not comfortable with asking directly question, you can type your question also in chat box. You can read it.
There is a question in the chat box. It's so Akash is asking is what is the main thing that we should look for while reading and writing research paper?
Yeah, so before reading and writing research paper, it is very good question. It is very important to know why I'm reading it. Okay, so generally we read research paper for two reasons. One, when we are actually interested in that topic and where we are performing some experiment in laboratory. So we are more interested to know exactly what is the advanced thing is happening in that particular area. And second, sometimes we also read many papers from JAX, NIUS, Nature and Science just to understand what is happening all around the other areas which are related to chemistry, or even sometimes it is not, for example, COVID cases. So we are reading more about vaccine development and so on to understand what is the scientific advancement happening in that particular area. Okay. So while reading a paper, this is also important to first decide particularly for which topic I want to read it and what is the purpose of that reading. Whether I just want to read it for general information or whether I want to know specific information about that literature or that particular topic. If it is related to research, we will go for very specific papers. If we just want to know more information about that area, and if that area is new to us, it is good idea to start with reading a review. Or in case if you're more interested for current trends like COVID and so on, you can read more about the current work which has been published in top journals. That is another idea. But most of the time when you enter into research field, we are reading research paper based on some problems, some titles which we want to solve. For example, synthesis of some molecule, or making some catalyst, or having its application in textile, or maybe in fungicides, or any other kind of thing. So we try to use that particular knowledge for our research, or we try to know what people have done already that we should not repeat. So title and the aim, why we are doing it, it's very important. Okay, I hope I answered to your question.
There is another question by Achal. She is asking that how can we locate the graphical abstract? The abstract is usually labeled and has its own section, but is that the case for graphical abstract too?
Okay, so abstract is usually labeled, that I don't know exactly what is meant by labeled, and that its own section, but is that any case for graphical abstract? So generally, what is graphical? I was planning to include that topic in discussion, but because most of the students in BSc, so therefore I thought like they may not be familiar with ChemDraw and like drawing structures and abstract and so on. Therefore, I have not included it. But graphical abstract is nowadays integral part of writing abstract for any scientific article. So here, if you see any journal, okay, so where you can locate it, as soon as you go to their homepage, you will see that graphical abstract. What is graphical abstract? So once you do your work at the end, like we are writing an abstract, we will try to make one general scheme. Instead of showing other, I can show my own scheme to explain it in a better way. So we have published this in organic letters. So here, if you see, it's a simple reaction. Even for BSc, it will be easy to convert benzoic acid into amides. Okay. So this graphical abstract, what message we want to convey? Here we can use any acid, particularly aromatic acid, which can react with amine and giving amide. And we have reported more than 35 examples. These are our reaction conditions, and this is our new catalyst. Okay. So we try to convey a precise information about what kind of reaction conditions we have and what might be the novelty in that case. So some novelty we will highlight here, up to 40 millimole scale. So even we did the scale up of that particular work. Here you will get a little bit more information. Similarly, if you see any other paper, So here, if you see this graphical abstract. So as a chemist, because I know already all these reactions, particularly in organic chemistry, I can judge exactly what kind of reaction they might have done. So as a new person to the chemistry, or sometime when you're doing undergraduate, first you have to locate where is the reaction center. So this structure is changing into that structure. So what changes are happening? So if you look carefully, this bromine is converted into amine. Am I right? It looks like a bookward amination kind of reaction, but however, it is little bit different here. They have used palladium pyalin fluoride and phosphine as a catalyst. And these are the reaction conditions. So they are making this molecule. Okay, so bromine is converted into amine. Okay, so this nitrogen and aromatic ring bond is forming, that this bromine bond is breaking. So generally this we call bookward amination kind of reaction. But however, you see this fluorescence, and here blue light is highlighted. Okay, so they might have did some study for its fluorescence. Okay, so not only chemistry, they are showing some application of this work. But we cannot judge just by looking at this scheme exactly what they have done. Here we understand the chemistry, what reaction they have done. Okay, under what condition. For example, if as a scientist I'm working on same molecule, and instead of this phenyl, if I'm having different molecules, or maybe even if I'm having bromine or like bromine, then I will be more interested in what kind of chemistry they have done, what conditions they have used. If I'm to modify this molecule, forget about fluorescence, or maybe for making some pharmaceutical drug molecules. And if I'm working on similar core molecule, then I will look for the reaction condition. But I'm application-based kind of researcher, then I will check, okay, this molecule they have made, we can make by different method also. Then what is the application of this work? What kind of application they might have done? So at least it looks a little bit similar to my research area. So here you can see the title, Bookward Hardkey Combination of aryl halides with aromatic heterocyclic amines in the synthesis of highly fluorescent benzodiazepine-based star-shaped organic semiconductors. So maybe they are using it for semiconductors. Tentative idea will get. Then while reading this abstract, you will get more idea. So therefore, it is always a good idea to first read the abstract and check a graphical abstract, as I said. Okay, and that's how you will get an information about this abstract. So exactly as a new person to the chemistry, or at least when you know the structures and all, first you have to check what is the reaction center, where this reaction is happening. This bromine is converted into what? Then next question is which reagents, under what condition, and why this is happening. Okay, now I understood the chemistry. Then what is the new part of this chemistry? Whether it's application, or sometime even they may report a new reaction also. So that judgment we can make by using graphical abstract. And once you open the article, you will get more details about that particular reactions and particular application. So here you will see how they did the optimization for that bookward amination. And then the next part, how they synthesize this molecule, big molecule. Its total synthesis is reported. And then somewhere they might have mentioned its properties, its fluorescence and so on. And then they will make some conclusion. So you will see this all information, they concisely fitted into one graphical abstract and abstract. Okay.
Okay, so the next question is, at what stage we will get to read or write research?
Okay, at what stage we will get reader?
Yeah, read and write a research paper.
Yes. At what stage we will
get to write or read a research paper?
Okay, at what stage we will get to read a research paper, it's a different, and what stage we will get to write a research paper is different. So reading from today also you can start. Once you are interested in any one of the, for example, one of the person, like one of the students mentioned aldol reaction. So if you are interested about, okay, this reaction happened in 1980s. So what is the current scenario of aldol reaction? What people are doing right now with aldol reaction? So that you can read right now. Also, you can check more details about aldol reaction by putting it as a keyword, and then you will get many articles. So instead of generally my suggestion is, instead of reading a paper, read a review first. The review will give you overall summary of the reported papers. Then identify which papers you are more interested, and then go to that particular paper and get that paper. How to get that paper and all, like literature search, you will be having one session, I think. In case if you still have doubt, it's very easy. You can go to YouTube, you will get all the details about how to do the literature search. You can go to SciFinder website, Scopus website, Google Scholar, how to use. There are many good lectures available. So you can identify that particular paper, and then the next issue will be whether that paper is freely available or whether you need to pay money for that particular paper to read it. So sometimes if you are working for a research project, if you are working in collaboration with Homi Bhabha Research Center, NCL, IIT, ICER, so many times we are having free access, means we are already paying to that particular company. So we can directly download and we can give it that paper to you. And then you can read it. And now there are some open access journals. So open access means even from any computer source, any internet source, you can download that paper. You can even read online. Okay, so nowadays there is a movement for open access. So reading you can done at any stage, just as a curiosity to know more about research, or maybe just when you are starting proposal writing, or even if you are applying to some other research group for your internship, you will be interested to know what kind of work they are doing. So better to go to their homepage, check their publication, copy the title, try to get that article and read it before writing an email and all, to get an idea exactly what work they are doing. So reading can be start at any stage, but for writing, so writing a research paper needs a lot of efforts. Okay, writing a research paper start when you end your research project. So before starting research project, first you have to plan your project, exactly what will be your topic. Then you have to do the literature search. Then you will be doing detailed specific literature search on specific topic. Then you will mention that, okay, based on my understanding so far, people have not done so and so reaction so far, or they have not made this molecule. This may be a drug candidate for cancer or maybe for some molecule. Then you will make that hypothesis based on your literature search and based on your overall knowledge. Then you will make a plan for making that reaction happen. In some cases, it may not work. Some cases, it may work. So once it works, then you will do a lot of experiments to improve it further. Similarly, for making a big molecule, you will be doing many reactions. And once you make that molecule, you will check its application. You will generate a lot of data, a lot of NMR and other things. And then you will be ready to summarize your work in form of research paper, because you will be having some target. Why I'm making it? To make it as anti-cancer. And you will see that this molecule is showing some anti-cancer activity or not. For making a new reaction, you will come to the conclusion, yes, we have found this new cyanation reaction and it is applicable for aromatic halides, aliphatic halides, and so on. That is your conclusion. You may do some mechanistic study. And once you summarize your work, then you will be ready to write your paper. Okay. So particularly when you are in BSc and MSc, you will be working as a research intern in some research groups. So there you may not get directly opportunity to write a paper. You may write a small part of your result and discussion, because this part will be taken care of by PhD students or some cases postdoctoral students, or maybe even supervisors with whom you are working with. But once you start your own project in your master's, okay, so then you have to write your own article. That's the two things. Reading you can start at any stage, but for writing you have to first finish your actual research project and then you are ready to write it. Any other question?
Yeah, there is a question with Darshini. She is asking that in some papers I have seen the authors include a brief introduction about why they are doing that particular research, apart from what they have done exactly. Is this a good practice to adopt?
Yeah, means in terms of abstract or in introduction. So maybe I think she is mentioning about introduction also, because in abstract generally they just have limitation of 1 or 2 lines. But anyway, yeah, why people are mentioning some very broad sentences initially, if you see this slide. Okay, so as I mentioned also, generally people will start with very broad sentence. Whether they are actually doing it or not, that's a secondary thing. But they will try to connect their research topic with very broad area to attract attention of the audience. That's the first thing in terms of writing. Second, they are trying to solve a small problem or maybe big problem in that particular area, which may have some solution for that broad area. Okay. So for example, we are reporting first time some new kind of drug molecules for cancer. Okay. It may work, may not work. That's a different story. But initially they will mention a lot of things about the cancer. What is the cancer, how it happens, and then what are the treatments available for cancer. And we are introducing new radio pharmaceuticals for this cancer treatment and so on. To get a support for their claims, why they are doing it. If they write directly, for example, if I write directly that we are doing 2G reaction, we are using palladium chloride pyrrole complex, and then we are making new chiral ligands, people will not understand why I'm making it. Then question will be why you are doing it. Then if I say that there are many drug molecules where people have used this 2G reaction and then they have made this molecule, and these are the few examples. I will cite those examples and then I will mention this reaction if you use that will reduce the cost of the process. So people so far reported palladium, and it is a costly metal and it costs that much, and we are trying to replace it with nickel, and if we are successful in that, that will reduce the cost of the product by 10-20% in terms of costing. I'm saying. Same thing, people have reported so far so and so drug for tuberculosis, but most of the drugs are not applicable for multi-drug resistant bacteria. In this work, we have screened many molecules for multi-drug resistant bacteria, and we have come up with this new molecule. So if you directly start discussing about the new molecule, people will get confused why you are making this new molecule. But if you give background, what is TB, what is the current issue, what is this multi-drug resistant bacteria and how it is affecting, then even a person who is not a biologist, as a chemist or even a physicist, it will be easy for him to understand. And even why you are giving that solution, it will be easy for scientific community to understand why you are doing that work. Okay, so therefore people are adding sometimes broad sentences, but they should not include a false claims that our drug molecule will be much better than the current existing cancer molecule without having any solid proof or data until they have done clinical trials and so on. Okay, they can propose it may be, sometime you will see that word, because they are also not sure it will work or not. That's how people are using these broad words, either to mention why their work is important and also for wide audience to know exactly why they are doing that work. Any other question?
Yeah, so there are two students who are asking the difference between an abstract and a summary.
Okay, so in summary, what you will see that it will be like a summary of that particular work, whatever you have done, and then you will mention what you have found out. You will not like mentioning about the introduction sentences or something. So in summary, particularly, you will see actual example for this paper. This is the abstract. Now I will download. So sometimes summary might be even bigger than one paragraph. Sometimes it will be very short. So instead of summary, sometimes you will see this word conclusion. Okay. So most of the time in paper, there is a last section conclusion. So in conclusion, the addition development of palladium catalyzed amination of a bromobenzene with this group was performed. The base catalytic system for palladium catalysis was found to be this, and this might be the application. So this will be the actual summary of whatever work you have done in your result discussion part. And sometime you will mention few more sentences that this may be useful for next work and so on. Okay, but if you see it's summary, abstract. So here you will see the broad sentence. The study of palladium catalyzed amination of bromobenzene with aromatic heterocyclic amines widely used in the synthesis of organic semiconductor was performed. Okay, the best condition for the coupling of aryl bromides with carbazole was this was developed. So here this will be the summary of overall work, overall paper, not just like a summary of your result and discussion. And so in conclusion, sometimes conclusion may be a long, but when you write abstract, it has some limitation. But as I said, most of the time you will see that in abstract particularly, there will be few sentences, few lines, which either copy pasted from the summary, okay, and then they are modified. So summary could be a part of the abstract in terms of few sentences. You can check any other example also. Okay, let's see any random example. So here you can see, but it will be difficult for this one. Okay, this one. Effective scandium catalyzed transfer hydrogenation and cyclization tandem reaction has been achieved. So what we have done in this paper, this process showed excellent functional group compatibility and good yields. Variety of these molecules were synthesized, and further the utility of this newly developed protocol is demonstrated through scale-up experiment, late-stage modification and preliminary exploration of enantiomer selective synthesis. So they are showing, okay, this is the new thing. We have done so much work, and also we have showed the application. So let's see that paper. Now, if you go to the conclusion section, okay, here you will see that they are specifically mentioning about something. Some word will be there. In summary, we have established efficient scandium catalyzed transfer hydrogenation and cyclization tandem reaction of orthoamino benzaldehyde with so and so alcohol. Striking features of this protocol includes potential synthetic utility, broad substrate scope, where we have used this. Okay, so sometime if that author is not good in writing, you will see even they are copy pasting this aim into conclusion. But sometimes this wording will be totally different. Only you will see there are 1 or 2 lines which are common. These are the 2 examples. So here you will see that these next lines are different. Okay. So that's how conclusion is nothing but a summary, and summary is nothing but whatever actual work you have done. So it summarizes everything. And abstract gives overall idea about your work, starting from the introduction up to the conclusion.
Okay, so there is, I think, 2 more questions. One is that can we link someone's research paper as additional information?
Can we read someone's research paper as additional information? For what?
Can we link someone's research paper as additional information?
Yes, that's what you observe in. No, for graphical abstract or abstract, we cannot link because there is no section where we can cite or we can reference. But in paper, if you see in introduction, so introduction is nothing but linking such kind of papers. Means we have to show exactly when you are claiming that this work you are doing, but you are not the first person. Somebody might have done that work before you. So that most of the time you will see that in introduction, people are putting numbers, that numbers correspond to references. Most of the time, all references will come from this section. So amide moieties are ubiquitous. Example, pharmacologically active compounds, agrochemicals, as well as synthetic and natural polymers. So this is 1 number. So here we are linking that 1 number to get the more details, where you can see this claim, where amides have been used as a pharmaceutical molecule and so on. Several methods have been developed for the construction of amide-CN bonds, which includes carbonylative amidation. So to get more information specifically about carbonylative amidation, you can go to the reference number 2. If you are interested in transamidation, you can go to the reference number 3. Same thing we cannot put in abstract, okay? Because abstract is a different story. It's an abstract of your research paper, but to get this linking and all, you have to read the introduction. So definitely you need to link the previous work. You have to acknowledge who has done that work, and that you will see in these references. Okay, these numbers are connected to the references, but in resultant discussion, you will rarely see this, because introduction is nothing but the history or whatever books you are referring. So you will mention what is the history, what previous people have done, what kind of work they have done, then what might be the limitation, what are the improvements required. And then you will start mentioning about your own work, and then you will mention exactly what you have done. So here you don't need a reference here, because you are doing your own work, you are presenting what you have done. But in next time, if somebody wants to mention that Sawant et al. Has done some work on this topic, so they will include that in introduction section. Or sometime to support their claims for some results or some mechanism, somewhere you will see there are some reference numbers. Okay, So mostly this linking happens only in introduction section and at maximum at introduction section, and somewhere in the result and discussion, and sometime even in a supporting information in case if you are following some protocol for making that molecule and so on. But we cannot link or we cannot cite anything for abstract because this is our own abstract for our own work. Yeah, and most important part I forgot to mention, you should not copy paste any of the sentence. Okay, that's very, very important even for abstract, because nowadays there are softwares also available. It's ethically not acceptable, but also scientifically people are checking whether you have copy pasted any words or any lines. In case if you feel, for example, amide moieties are ubiquitous pharmacologically active compounds, agrochemicals, so on. So you may find similar kind of wording in the different papers. Even this one whole paragraph you may find in the different papers, because we cannot change the history. Yamamoto et al. Has first reported, so this history will not change. In each and every paper, he is the first who has reported that particular reaction. But the wording will change. Okay, the way another person is writing, he may write that first time Yamamoto et al. Reported so and so reaction. Second mention that amine and acid condensation was first developed by Yamamoto et al. So that wording should change. It should not be copy pasted. And same thing for your abstract. If you feel that somebody has written very nice abstract, so I can use that wording and put my own words, that is not acceptable. Okay, so you have to rephrase like your own words. Like even this is a common sentence, you have to make sentence in a such sequence that it should not look like a copy paste. Okay, any other question?
Yeah, one last question. So it is by Shashank. So Shashank is asking that what do we understand by interpretation of results? So this is his first question. And he is also asking that generally how many research paper contents are ideal for a review article or an abstract?
Yeah, so these two are totally different questions, but good question. So first, can you, ma'am, please repeat first question again?
Yeah, so can you brief about what you mean by interpretation of results? This is his question.
Okay, yes, I can see this one now. Interpretation of results. So what is interpretation of result? Before interpretation, we are having some planning, why we are performing those experiments. For example, if I'm making synthesis, now we are making synthesis of some coumarin derivatives to make its unnatural amino acid, and its aim is to make it as a sensor. Second project, we are working on making catalytic amides. Third project, we are trying to make some kind of molecule which can generate hydrogen. So depending upon that particular project title, we are planning that experiments based on the literature, what people have done. And then we identify, okay, so far people have not reported coumarin-based sensors for bioconjugation. Look it, just make it. And then we plan its synthesis. So for that synthesis, we need a supporting information, whether that molecule is same or it's a different. So once I do the reaction, I need a supporting data. It's NMR, mass, and so on. Then the second step, then third step, and overall I will get that molecule. And then once I get that molecule, its synthesis is just like a supporting information. But now my main question was whether it is acting as a sensor or not, whether it is acting as a sensor for some detection of peroxide or not in biological system. So for that, I will perform further experiment, and based on all our experiment, then I will mention, okay, this is the discussion. So as interpretation of results are connected to the planning, so you will plan your experiment, and then you will interpret whether it is showing that activities as a sensor or not. If it is showing, why it is showing. If it is not showing, what might be the reason, that you will discuss. And to support your claims that this is not a hypothetical scheme, you have done this experiment, you will provide all the data in forms of NMR, mass spectra, and so on in your supporting information. Same thing even for any theoretical project. So you can propose some mechanism, and computational chemists will come up with all the calculations and so on. And they will mention the discussion, okay, we think that this might be the transition state, this might be a stable state. So that discussion will be there. So this interpretation will be based on your actual results. Now your second questions. Like, madam, about this review article and all, whether they had any kind of session where they come to know about the paper and review and all.
Yeah, so yesterday we had a session where we made them read a paper. They had to read a research paper, but that was definitely not a review paper. So it was an generally articles from Journal of Chemical Education, and then we discussed the structure of such an article. I mean, what are the different parts of a research paper, then the overall structure.
Okay.
And
so
also they have
idea about reading
they
the
have
paper.
idea about this, but definitely we didn't cover any review article as such.
Okay, but anyway, at least this person might be knowing particularly about the review. So at least to specify about the title and all, generally what we need, why we are writing that review. Particularly when any research group is interested in any review, either they might be extensively working in that area, they have done a lot of work in that area, and then they know exactly who has started that reaction, what might be the future scope for this reaction, or what is the current scenario of that particular work. So then it's a good idea to make a topic, okay, to come up with the title. And with that title, then we can see how many people have worked in that area, starting from the beginning of the topic. So there are two ways. Either people will cover recent work within last 5 years for random review, or even people will cover any topic starting from its beginning. Some people will also cover a topic which is very, very specific. There might be only 10 papers or 5 papers in that area. So you don't have any kind of scope available. So you have to summarize your review within 2 pages. That is also possible. So writing a review is totally depending upon what kind of topic you are selecting, and based upon how many articles are available. Then you can summarize within 5 years or starting from the origin. And where to publish that review, then it depends upon what kind of review you have, okay, and how much information it covers. So there are some journals like Chemical Review, Chemical Society Review, they covers extensive reviews, like which having references up to 200 to 400 and 500. However, there are some reviews which can even publish in the research papers, like journals where they are publishing articles and so on. So they need up to 5 pages or 10 pages also fine. So totally it depends upon your title and that area, how many papers you should refer, and then your target. In case if you are already targeting around to publish in chemical review, then you have to select very broad topic, and starting with its initial origin, or maybe you have to cross check whether people have reported already or not. If there is no review, you feel that okay, on this topic nobody has summarized anything, then there is a good chance to write a big review. If you feel that okay, this is new emerging area, even you can write a very short review also within like 2-3 schemes or 2-3 reports.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir. So we have the lunch time for that. We are in the hostels, like thing. Our lunch time is in between 15 minutes and 20 minutes. So we are out of their time. So can we leave?
Okay, ma'am. So, madam, is it fine if we stop, because tomorrow again I'll be having one more session. We can discuss.
Yeah, definitely, sir. No problem, sir. We can stop here today.
Yeah. In case if you are having any questions, anything, you can write.
Yeah. So we have created a discussion forum on Moodle. So for this session.
Definitely. And regarding assignment, madam will also convey that message. We have to come up with any new kind of abstract, which should not be a copy pasted abstract of the previous work, just as a practice.
That information I'll share with them.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot. I mean, they had a very, I hope so, students enjoyed the session, because this is one of the important things which some of them may be coming up with in the future career also. Thank you. We will meet again tomorrow, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I'm very thankful to all the students for listening carefully.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.